He's made millions from the fantasy tale of plunderers versus native people in Avatar. But this week, James Cameron was exploring the very real environmental challenges facing Alberta's oil sands. During his visit, the director sat down for an exclusive interview with the National's Peter Mansbridge. Here's what Cameron had to say about the tough choices facing energy consumers. And yes, he talked about the Avatar sequel too.
James Cameron's in LA. He's got to fill up his car or his motorcycle or whatever he's driving with something if he's on oil.
My Volt.
Your Volt?
No,
is that what you're driving?
That's what I just ordered. Right now I'm driving a Toyota hybrid because it seats 7 and I got 5 kids.
Yeah, well, you're just getting them all in, right?
Yeah, right, barely.
So you're using some oil?
Yeah, and we all are. You know, our society's addicted to it, and you know, we got to be on a 12-step program here to get off it.
Okay, so you drive up to a gas station, and there's 2 pumps there.
Right.
And one says Middle East oil.
Yeah. And
the other says Alberta oil sands oil.
Yeah.
You got a choice.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you do?
Well, it's an interesting problem. From a global warming perspective, the Middle East oil is actually better. From a national security issue, which is really you know, something that we've got to consider, the tar sands oil is better. That's a really an interesting conundrum. I think the answer is tar sands oil if they can meet those criteria of environmental responsibility, responsibility to the First Nations people that are directly impacted by it, and a strong drive toward higher energy efficiency going into the system. For example, if they need energy, see, the thing is the way the SAGD extraction, which is how they're planning on doing, you know, most of the future development, the way it works is you burn natural gas to extract the oil, to get gasoline to put in your car to burn. So you're burning a hydrocarbon to get a hydrocarbon so you can burn it somewhere else. So you're getting double dipped from a standpoint of dumping carbon into the atmosphere. So the trick is what could your input energy be? Could it be from renewable sources, for example? You know, could you be using you know, wind and solar to use electricity to drive that system? You know, that's something I think people should look at. And I was trying to tell these oil guys today, you know, you'd go a long way toward getting public buy-in in these processes if you were using renewable energy as your input, your thermal source to do this oil extraction.
And they said,
yeah, we've thought about that. Clearly, it's not economically viable right now. Right. You know, but this is where the government needs to play a role. They kept coming back and mentioning nuclear as a possible way to have, you know, to get the input energy to the system. I personally, and this is a little controversial, obviously, in the environmental world. Personally, I wouldn't have a problem with that because, you know, we're not Russia. You know, we're not going to have a Chernobyl. We're smarter than that, and it's actually one of the cleanest sources of energy out there. You know, there's no carbon footprint to it at all, other than building the plant in the first place.
So you're pro-nuclear?
I'm pro-nuclear, yeah. In this particular context, as a bridge to a fully sustainable future, because I think the waste problem is a 500-year horizon. I think the warming problem is a 10 to 15-year horizon.
Before I say thank you, let me take you back to those tanks, because you gave me a lot of ifs, but you never really gave me an answer.
Well, they're both bad choices. I mean, the thing, you know, you need a third tank, which is you know, solar or biodiesel, something like that. You know, we really need to embrace renewables. That's the turn. That's the big turn we've got to make. That's the off ramp we've got to take from the course that we're on right now. And everything else needs to be thought of as an interim solution. Not an interim solution, you know, the oil sands people are happy to tell you that, you know, we can power North America for the next 50 to 100 years. That's not an interim solution. It has to be seen as an interim solution and treated that way as we move to a fully sustainable, clean energy economy.
The Avatar fans.
I still dodged your question.
Yeah, you still did. So you know, I only try so many times.
You know, it's like, where do you want to get shot, head or gut? You know, it's like, I don't want to get shot.
The Avatar fans would be mad at me if I let you go without you telling me, as you did, that you want to make at least 1, if not 2 more.
Yeah.
Like, how far away is that?
Well, the current plan is to do 2, and we're in the early, you know, ground laying work for that now, new technology and a new facility and so on. And I've still got to, at some point, find a breather to go off and write the actual script, depending on how distracted I get doing all this environmental stuff.
And you can watch the full interview with James Cameron on Mansbridge One-on-One.